Welcome back to another episode of DFS and Dynasty from Eat Sleep Fantasy. We got another Sunday update with you guys, and we got lots of material. Our notes, we got a lot of notes. It's going to be good. So stick around, and if you have any questions, obviously, just type them in on the YouTube page, and we cannot wait to hear from you guys. But without further ado, I am joined by two of the sexiest people in fantasy football. Why not, right? Austin. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on? Good day, good day, good day. Hey, I'm Brady'd out today. I'm expecting a lot of good things. I can't decide whether it's going to be Brady or Michelle.
Ooh. I'm hoping for Michelle, man. I feel like I got to keep beating that drum till it finally happens.
Hey, and we're not live on YouTube, just so you guys know.
Okay. And also, let's jump over there to Steve. How you doing, brother?
Oh, my God, it's Sunday. It's football day. Things are good. I can't wait. I have entirely way too many lineups again this week.
Oh, yeah?
Ready to make some money.
All right. I like it. I like it. I like it. Well, without further ado, let's jump straight into the weather. Austin, is there anything on the weather with that we need to know about?
There is a single chance of rain, so it's supposed to be a little chilly against the Buffalo and Green Bay. That's the only one that is of concern. So other than that, just every other game looks really good. So Buffalo and Green Bay, chance of rain. That's it.
All right. So are you fading any players there?
No, there's no reason to even mess with your lineups. If anything, it just boosts the running back game just a little bit.
Maybe the defense for the Green Bay Packers. I am a huge Green Bay defense fan this week. I actually have them number 2 overall, is kind of where I have them. And that's the thing. Both these teams, Buffalo and Green Bay, they're kind of used to that type of weather. And you could even say, well, the quarterback isn't Josh Allen, the rookie, but actually he played in Wyoming. So he's used to very, very cold and kind of inclement weather as well. So it shouldn't affect too much there.
Last week was a good example, though, Green Bay's defense in that weather against Washington on the road.
Yeah. So the weather is good, so we got a lot of great stuff going on. So let's jump in right off the bat with some injury/news updates, and there are a lot. I feel like half the NFL is questionable this week. It is just an absolute mess. So let us just say this as we go through. This is probably one of the most important weeks, definitely the most important week so far this year. We're 4 weeks in, where you need to pay attention to who is in and who is out. So make sure you are sticking close to the internet, Twitter. All of us, we will be tweeting live updates, people to put in your lineups. And again, this isn't just DFS, even though that's what we focus on. This is all fantasy. It's all there. So here we go. Let's start off with the 49ers. Report came out late last night that it seems like both Breida and Morris are a go. Jimmy Garoppolo's out. Even though Breida's the, leading, he's tied for the lead with NFL rushing. Are either one of you, let's start with you, Steven, are you confident starting Breida this week versus Chargers?
I am. He did come back with that hyperextended knee last week. And given the matchup that he has and given the fact that, Bethard might be checking down a lot, I kind of like him in that role. I'm not really fading him. I put him in less lineups than I did last week. But I'm not really too concerned about the situation, given the fact that he came back from it last week.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and Morris isn't a bad play. I've got him in 1 or 2 lineups just because I think they're going to have to run. And Kyle Shanahan, most people don't realize, Carlos Hyde was the number 8 overall running back in the NFL fantasy-wise last year before Jimmy Garoppolo even came in. So there's still value there. That offense is just dominated by the running game. Even though they throw the ball a ton, it's very efficient. So both of those players, you can play them. I'm not sold on either one. I have them in a couple tournaments, but that's about it. Right. Let's head over to the Falcons backfield. Austin, man, Devontae Freeman is out again. Tell me what to do with Coleman. We were really high last week on Coleman, and he laid an egg. What do you think?
I didn't think he laid an egg last week. He got you your average points, what you needed. I don't know. That's a big thing. I know everyone wants the 20 points per player, but Coleman's averaging 14 run attempts per game now, and he's being targeted 3 to 4 times a game, which is, in my opinion, 13 points of fantasy goodness. I got it. It's not sexy like our boy Gurley or Kamara right now, but that's 14 points you can count on for cash money.
Dude, I love it. That is awesome. That is awesome. So, is your exposure on Coleman pretty high?
Coleman is, for this week. Oh yeah, I definitely have quite a few lineups with Coleman in them. But I wouldn't say he's my highest. Of course, I went Kamara because I'm a bitch.
I'm with you this week. I really feel, I mean, but that's the thing. You've played Kamara every week, and it's paid off for you. You've made money on those. You've returned value, even though his price is high. And I think that this is the last week that I feel beyond confident playing him. I'm very curious to see what his price will do next week when Ingram comes back. But as far as this week goes, man, how could you not? I have so many Saints stacks. I feel like it's the safest way to go just because the volume is there and that defense is giving up so many points. Man, it's going to be fun. So Coleman is full go. Now let's go.
Coleman's like that because I have him in a lot of lineups, and where he's priced, he's like perfect for that, second running back if you want to pay up for one of the lead dogs, and then or you go through your lineup and you're like, damn, I got whatever it is that he's at. He's right around $7,000, I think, and it's like sweet. Perfect flex spot. So he just falls in that good window, and with the stats that Austin was talking about and the amount of points that he's been putting up, I mean, that's been his floor, right? So there's a lot of upside there. So I don't know. I got Coleman in a few lineups myself.
So who do you like better than Coleman or Gio?
That's tough, man. But I don't know. Just based on that offense, I mean, Gio did well. That touchdown did help him out last week. But I think Coleman probably has the better upside all around.
I do look when you look at that game though, you're looking at the points, and for this week, the Bengal Falcon game has gone up 2 points according to Vegas, so they're expecting that to be the shootout. Matter of fact, that is the second highest predicted game right now. So
it could be Gio too, because I know AJ Green's going to be there. Boyd's filled in well. At that, opposite of him, and Gio did do well last week, so there could be a lot of points put up in that game.
Yeah, I'm leading Gio there, but I don't think either one are bad options just because the value and volume. I mean, how do you? It's awesome. So when you can get these guys in there for such a cheap price that are going to get such a heavy workload on a great offense, man, I love it. I hate to say it, but is it disgusting if I say that I have a few Cincinnati Bengals stacks? I freaking love it, man. That defense for the Falcons is just, it's trash. It is so bad. So
no, I got a handful of them myself.
Hey, speaking of amazing offenses, did you hear Jerry Jones's comments?
That was great.
Holy freaking cow. Steve, please make sense of this crazy old man's logic.
Well, I mean, based on your sentence right there, I mean, he's just a crazy old man, but it's just funny because he said that, his signal caller, so Dak, he's somewhere between, he feels he's somewhere between like Jared Goff and Cam Newton, which is absolutely hysterical. And then he's like, and I get, okay, you could draw up a comparison with Zeke and Gurley. I mean, they're very talented running backs. But then if you look at the wide receiver core on both sides, he's talking about how the Rams had Tavon Austin last year and how Tavon Austin is in Dallas. Who really cares about where Tavon Austin is, because he hasn't really done a whole lot of anything in his career. But there's nobody else on that team that compares to Woods, Kupp, and Cooks. They lost Dez, they lost Witten, they did nothing but throw Michael Gallup in there and sign Allen Hurns. Like, there's just absolutely no comparison. So, Jerry lives in Jerry's world, as it's known. So, we just kind of roll on from that.
What a special individual. That's probably the nicest thing I could possibly say. All right, let's move on to Doug Baldwin. He is finally going to play. He's still questionable, but he took part in all team drills on Friday, and it seems like even though he's not 100%, he is going to go. Austin, what does this do to the fantasy kind of landscape in Seattle?
No, for that game, I don't think I have any exposure to. Oh, yes, I do. I'm lying because I did stack the Cardinals just for a but we can finish that off at the end of this session. But Seahawks, I mean, the game right now is a predicted point total of, hold on, sorry, I lost it. 40 points right now. It went up 2 points, almost a point and a half this week. So, but my thing is do we even look at Baldwin? Do we look at Lockett, or do we focus more on the running game? Because if, say, Seattle does end up going up, it could be Carson and Penny this week for that backfield.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Penny got what, 6 snaps last week? That is all. I mean, he was in the single digits. If it wasn't 6, it was pretty close. So I am heavy on Carson. You know, I really do think that is his backfield. So not that I'm playing him in a lot of lineups, but I believe in the volume. It is going to be there. Baldwin coming back definitely helps. But man, this could be one of those games that's like 13-6, and the defensive team gets the touchdown. So it's what it is. It's what it is. So I'm staying away. What about Carson versus Penny for you, Steve?
So I like Carson. The only thing that worries me is that, what did he have? 34 total touches last week, and they've been talking about that hip injury. So I don't know if it's just like coach speak to deter defensive coordinators or whatever, but you know, I guess he's looking fine, and they'll see more so today on how he looks and how he feels. But you know, even if he's at, we'll say 80-90% and he starts, I'm still going to play him. Just Penny's been trash. We've been talking about him for months on end, and he hasn't done anything to improve the upside to even want to play him. So even at a cheaper value, there's just nothing there about him that makes me want to play him. So if I'm playing anybody in that lineup outside of Russell Wilson this week, it's going to be Chris Carson.
Okay. All right. I like it. Now, Cobb is questionable. Oh, man. It just seems like Cobb is just on a constant downturn this week in fantasy. Steve, what would you say, man? What are you doing with just kind of everything that's going on with Allison? Had the big game last week on his 2 catches. Devontae Adams seems to be the stud there. What do you think, man?
Well, first of all, with Cobb, you know, he got added to the report on Thursday with a hamstring injury, so that's never really a good thing. But he does. He has been trending down, and Allison, even though he hasn't had a ton of volume, he's made the best of it, and I think that's going to increase as the year goes on with Aaron Rodgers. Now, with Aaron Jones look good coming back, so in my mind, I'm thinking that they might lean a little bit more towards the run game to get Rodgers to the bye week in the next couple of weeks here. But I would still play Allison and Devontae Adams, because Devontae just clearly has a nose for the end zone. I think he scored the first 3 weeks of the season. And Geronimo Allison has made some good catches, and he's made some key catches on drives as well to keep them alive. So that rapport is there, and it's growing. So I mean, I would be playing those 2 over Randall Cobb, even if he was healthy. Granted, we saw a good week 1 out of him, but we haven't seen much out of him since.
Right. And part of me just says, dang, maybe even Ty Montgomery gets a little bit more work in that slot role, which he used to play. You know what? I don't think they're going to throw the rookies out there in the slot. I think they might do some 2-back set and just kind of get Montgomery out in the flats. I don't know. Austin, what do you think, man?
I'm focusing more on a stack right now with Allison and Devontae. I don't think this is going to be a running game very much, in my opinion. Like looking down at the Vegas odds for this game right now, it's supposed to be a pretty back and forth game, pretty even. Sorry, you caught me off guard.
Oh, it's okay. I like catching you off guard. That's my move.
Got me. You got me good. So right now it's already dropped in points down to 44. I think it's because of the weather is 1, and then 2 with Cobb coming out. I think Vegas is tempering their expectations that this game is not going to be as highly scoring as expected. So, but for a stack this week, I do like Allison and Devontae for this week.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Going super heavy there. Now, man, let's head over to a backfield that just, oh my goodness. Jay Ajayi is the only player in the Philadelphia backfield that does not have an injury tag on him currently. So Jay Ajayi is going to go. His back is an issue, but he doesn't have a questionable tag, whereas Darren Sproles is out. And even Corey Clement with the quadricep injury has not taken part in team drills this week, but I'm assuming he will go. Austin, man, this backfield, what do we do with this? The Eagles are a very high potency offense when things are going well. What do we do here with this backfield? Do we just stay away?
I'm staying away. If anything, I'm definitely just looking at Wentz and Ertz. Right now, it's my favorite combination. I even love saying it like that. Wentz and Ertz and Wentz and Ertz and Wentz and Ertz. Yeah, it's a big one.
Love it.
Isn't it? But right now, looking at this game, this one, they tempered their expectations as well for Vegas. It already dropped half a point this week. I honestly think Titans defense is a lot better than everyone says it is, or when you look at it. So I am not touching that backfield right now. This is, I wanted to pass the eye test. Sproles, Ajayi, Clement. I expected a lot more out of Clement last week. I'm glad you brought that up because we were really high in Clement, and he definitely laid a freaking goose egg last week.
And a good matchup too.
I know. I'll tell you this. I've dogged the Colts defense repeatedly, and so has the entire NFL, but they have changed the way they do things. They schemed their entire defense to stop the running game, and they basically said, we're just going to run man coverage against these backup wide receivers, and we're going to stop the running game. And if they beat us, they beat us. And it worked. They ended up losing the game, but their defense is playing very, very well. And probably defensive rookie of the year, Darius Leonard out of South Carolina State is just dominating. If you're in IDP leagues, I'm sure somebody already owns him. He is the #1 point getter, but that guy is just a monster.
Dude, now I've been playing the Colts defense on the cheap in a lot of lineups this week because, to your point with how they're scheming right now and the way that Watson's been just kind of looking lost, man. He hasn't really been the same. They've made some big plays and Fuller and Hopkins are doing pretty well, but I mean, they're just going to bring that pressure. They're going to stop the run game. They're going to pressure. They're going to force him to throw the ball. And again, he's just looked uncomfortable. So I've been playing them on the cheap all through this week in lineups.
Why not? Right now, let's stay with the Eagles. Alshon Jeffrey, Chris Mortensen just came out on Twitter and said that Alshon Jeffrey, even though he is questionable with his shoulder, will play in week 4. Man, Steve, I know you just said Carson and Ertz. Do you have a spot in your deep DFS tournament plays for Alshon Jeffrey?
Yeah, I mean, maybe in a lineup or two, just because of the red zone upside. You know what I mean? If you're in a pinch and you like the lineup that you have, and there's just the way the cards are falling, there's something that you're not quite comfortable with. Not saying that Alshon would make you super comfortable, but he has red zone upside. And what's going to be hard to tell is if they're still going to go to Joe Dirt in the red zone and Wentz, or if it's going to be Alshon. I mean, there was a clear connection with Wentz and Alshon, Wentz and Ertz. It's kind of hard to get away from that when your guy is back in the lineup. So just for the red zone upside alone and the possible touchdown, and again, in a pinch, I would throw him in a lineup.
All right. I like it. He scares me a little bit, but again, you are correct. Even whenever he is fully healthy, he's kind of that home run play. If he gets into the end zone, he's a great play. If not, then that's kind of where it is. Now, let's jump over to another wide receiver that is questionable. Keenan Allen is going to play, but man, he did not participate really in any team drills all week, and he's out with a knee and a tooth injury. What the hell? So, man, however, I love this matchup versus the 49ers, and that pains me to say it, but all 4 starting members of the 49ers secondary are all on the injured list. Now, some of them will suit up and play this week, but Richard Sherman's already out. He's going to be out for several weeks, and we have seen this secondary just get destroyed by wide receivers. Austin, let's go to you, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, I want to put you on the spot. He doesn't know I'm asking this. How confident are you in starting Keenan Allen in a DFS 50-50 this week?
In 50-50?
Yeah.
3.
Oh,
for cash games, I'm not touching Keenan Allen this week. I mean, I got it. The 49ers secondary is destroyed, but he's been injured all week. He's actually been injured for the past 2.5 weeks. And I don't know, I don't have his point totals for last week, but it wasn't anything exciting. I actually no. Since we're going, I'll throw them back at you. How much are you going to use Mike Williams and Gordon for GPPs this week?
Mike Williams, a solid 10. And then Gordon, I'm kind of fading Gordon a little bit, just 7, just because that linebacking core has been pretty awesome against the running game. I understand that Kareem Hunt got 2 touchdowns last week, but they were both 1-yarders after the passing game got tackled like on huge plays. So, you take those away. Kareem Hunt, they've done really well. Fred Warner and Reuben Foster, they might be one of the better linebacking athletic tandems in the entire NFL. I know they're young, but I feel like Gordon will have success, but it's going to be in the passing game.
That's where I'm playing them mostly is because of that. And I'm gonna go with Austin on Keenan Allen, but scale 1 to 10, I'm gonna up you a little bit, Austin. I'm gonna go like 3.75. We'll go 3.25. But
There you go.
no, just because with Keenan, man, when he does have an injury, it tends to be a struggle with him. And Mike Williams has done extremely well, and he's made the best of his opportunities. And that's another guy that kind of like Tyler Boyd, they've made the best of their opportunities, and I think quarterbacks are going to continue to look their way. So I really like Williams and Gordon, and I have a lot of stacks with Rivers, Williams, and Gordon this week.
Oh yeah, I do too. But I also added to the stack. When we're going back to this game, when you're talking about for cash games, I'm taking the Chargers defense big time. I mean, they're only 4,400 this week, and I'm able to fit them in pretty much everywhere I want. But if you stack Williams, Gordon, and the defense with Rivers, to me, that's going to be one of the biggest stacks this week. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be very unicorn and rainbow-ish, according to John.
Yeah, get out the unicorns. I'm with you. I love it. All right. Speaking of unicorns and magical areas of your body, did you know that the NFL does not have a groin designation? They don't have one. So if you injure your groin, do you know what they refer to it as?
A hammy?
Your pelvis. How do you injure your pelvis? I don't understand that one, but it's what it is. So speaking of pelvis,
are they trying to be PC about it or what?
I don't know. Pelvis is also, what is the plural of pelvis? Is it pelvi or is it pelvuses?
They both hurt.
Couldn't tell you. Yeah.
All right, AJ Green.
I got nothing, dude. I got nothing.
Awesome. AJ Green is a go despite his groin acting up. And this is huge because Boyd has just been, kind of the secret of the NFL. And I feel like FanDuel is not catching up with the rest of the NFL. There's such
and I've been loving it.
I know. I probably have him in too many lineups this week.
Price
that's
for
okay.
Boyd and Williams and Ridley. I'm loving it. I mean, Ridley, as long as Devonta Freeman's out of the equation, that's going to continue to grow, I think. I've been loving it.
So let's go to you then, Austin. Will the target share resemble what it has with Boyd and AJ kind of getting almost an equal share?
Well, with this being the highest point total on the main slate, I think it's going to be a back and forth game. And I think Boyd at 5,800, you have to use him this week. There's no way you can possibly fade him. I mean, that stacked with the Chargers defense, I mean, you're able to really get some heavy hitters, some heavy unicorns in there. So,
yeah, dude, I love it. You using the word unicorn, I don't know what it is, man.
You guys don't like chalk, so.
John's getting all wet in his pelvic area.
I am, man. My pelvuses are I'm just telling you, man. All right, let's go to tight ends. Man, rough week in the tight end stretch.
Pelvis is the tight end.
Pelvis is the, I was just going to say that.
Tight ends,
perfect.
It's
meant to be.
Jake Butt is on IR. So Evan Ingram is out. Right. I know, man. It's the trifecta. Now, Austin, I got to give it to you, man. You were the first one to kind of, let's just stay with the theme, turn me on to Rhett Ellison. Talk to me a little bit about your confidence just in Rhett Ellison and tournament plays. And, man, his price is just insane. Why do you like this guy so much?
Well, he's 4,100, so I mean, he's probably the cheapest guy that you could possibly fit into your lineups. I'm just looking real quick just to make sure I'm talking. Nope, I am not talking out of my ass. He is the cheapest guy, 4,100. And New Orleans has not shown that they can stop a wet tissue from blowing across the field. And with that game, you could go back and forth on with Red Ellison and then add like the whole freaking New Orleans team, and you'll be good. But I got to throw this one over to Steve because he has some concerns about New Orleans' pass game this week, and I'm kind of like jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the week, and it's hard not to start Kamara. It's hard not to start Michael. You have to play him because Breeze is going to look their way. But if you really look at Breeze outdoors, on the road, you're about 50-50 with him. He kind of scares me in that situation. If he's on the road and in a dome, I'm good with that. But historically, he has struggled in outdoor environments on the road. So, as much as I want to play Breeze, I've stayed away from him. But going back to what we were talking about with Kamara earlier, this is like your last golden opportunity before Ingram comes in for him to see a ton of volume. And I think Michael Thomas is going to always see that volume all year, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not as high on that offense as I have been the first 3 weeks of the season.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So let's head over. We talked a little bit about Mixon being out. Gio is still a full go. So on and so forth. Now, this is weird. It came out that Dirk Cutter was thinking about benching Ryan Fitzpatrick last
God, that
week.
was funny.
Now, again, I understand he threw 3 interceptions, but do you know why he threw 3 interceptions? Because your dumbass coach has him throw the ball 50 times a game, and you have Ryan Fitzpatrick. What do you think's going to happen? So is there any chance that we see Winston today? Let's go to you, Austin, because Paul's not here, so let's go to Austin.
Bum, bum, bum. No, I don't know. I can't see them. You know what? I'm lying. They're going to throw Winston in there. I mean, it's against the Bears. I think we see Fitzmagic struggle a little bit, and they're going to get scared, and they're going to want a running QB out there. So I do think we're going to see Winston. I think it's the Bears. The Bears defense is just going to crush in this game, though. That's the one I'm kind of using for some of my DFS lineups, but I'm really not even playing very much of this matchup at all. So
okay, so this is a question I got. This is for you, Austin. Who do you start this week if you had to pick between these two, Ryan Tannehill or Ryan Fitzpatrick? Who are you playing? Tannehill at New England, Fitzpatrick at Chicago.
Boy, you really stuck him with that one.
No, I'm just like, I'm not touching these. It's not even worth. I mean, I'd rather play Buffalo's freaking QB over those two.
Tannehill, man, he's a top 10 quarterback, and he's playing against one of the worst defenses to give up points to the quarterback position.
All right, Armando. Anyways, I'm still not touching them. So, okay, so we do have a question we actually have a YouTube question, and it's directed there towards you, John. Are you using Austin Eckler in any GPP lineups?
Man, I do like Austin. The problem is, man, they brought up Justin Jackson, and I think this game's going to get out of hand. I don't think my 49ers are going to stay in touch, and I think if that happens, they're going to try to get the rookie as much carries as possible, and that scares me. And that's enough to push me away. I think that there are better options out there than Eckler. And again, I talked about this athletic linebacker core. I don't think that this is the best matchup for Eckler. So I don't have him in GPP plays. But the last time I said I don't have this person in tournament plays, it was Calvin Ridley 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, kind of go with your gut feeling on there. I do not predict a lot of volume there. And again, it's not the best matchup for running backs against San Francisco. You can look at the data last year when Reuben Foster was in, they limit running back plays and basically yards, whether in the run game or passing game. I think that this is a wide receiver heavy focus. Quarterback and wide receiver is what I'm focused on.
Okay, so we just got some news, going back to the Tampa Bay game. Right now, it looks like Ronald Jones is going to be activated for the first time. Does this do anything for you guys?
Yeah, so he played a few weeks ago. He is an absolute beast. I think he's one of the best strong safeties in the entire NFL. Kind of one of those huge hybrid guys. And so what this will affect is it's going to affect James White and it's going to affect Gronk. Not that Rashad Jones is so good that he will, isolate those guys and take them out of the game, but it limits their upside. He is an all-pro safety and he makes plays. So I'm going to taper my expectations of James White, not necessarily Gronk. Gronk's Gronk, but it doesn't help him. That's what I would say.
Okay, I'm confused right now because I'm pretty sure, Austin, you said Tampa Bay game Ronald Jones, right?
I did.
Oh, I thought you were saying Rashad Jones. Oh, my bad.
Great analysis, though, John. Great analysis.
That was great, man. You had me like, dude, I was infatuated.
I refreshed my player news too, and Rashad Jones he is not going to play this week. So congratulations, guy. Don't listen to anything I say.
That was amazing. It doesn't.
Don't worry, guys.
Where did we go wrong? Where did we go? One way or another? One guy might be talking about one game. The other one might be talking about another. But rest assured, everybody out there, we're going to get you some fantasy information. But going back to Ronald Jones in the Tampa Bay game, doesn't really do anything for me. I think depending on game flow, they might give him a snap or two just to see what's going on. Because obviously he did not do anything with his opportunity in preseason. However, Peyton Barber has struggled a little bit. They have Jacquizz Rodgers, so we know what that talent pool is kind of like. So maybe it's kind of they've seen enough over the last couple of weeks to say, hey, even if we give this guy 3 to 5 touches this week and see what he does with it, what the hell, why not? But this is a bad matchup to put him in a situation like that, considering how terrible he was in the preseason.
All right, I like it. Okay, so a couple things. I want to kind of wrap up our news and injury notes. Again, make sure you are paying attention to when the actives come out. Also, I want to plug our lineups. If you head over to eatsleepfantasy.com, one of the very first buttons is $5 lineups. Man, we put together a ridiculous amount of time, and we play everything that we put up there. We have 50-50 lineups, just kind of versus head-to-head, 1-versus-1, multipliers, tournaments, pick'ems. We got them all for all of the sites and multiple lineups for each one. So just head over there. It's $5 a week, or you can buy the whole season all the way through the Super Bowl. We're going to be here for $50. Head over there, Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Now, Week 4 is going to be a little bit different because most of the top offenses are not in the main slate. We already saw the Thursday game, Minnesota versus the Rams, and that was a high-scoring affair. But we're also missing Kansas City and Pittsburgh from the main slate. So if you are playing in those, Austin, how does this affect your strategy moving forward, knowing kind of the top-tiered offenses are not going to be participating in that main slate?
Okay, real quick, let's talk about different slates. I know we're on time and stuff like that. Maybe we'll save it for Tuesday's thing, but let's make a note to talk about what each slate stands for and stuff like that, because that was a good question we got this week. We haven't had a chance to answer. But right now, I mean, even though we don't have the top 4 scoring offenses playing, I mean, you have games like Texans and Colts, predicted score of 47.5. The highest during the main slate is Bengals,
It's early, folks.
And Falcons. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's supposed to be the shootout of shootouts for the main slate.
So good too.
Yeah, it does. And then if you look at the later games, I mean, Saints-Giants is 52.5 points right now. So between the Bengals and Falcons and Saints and Giants, you could come up with some great freaking lineups that we're going to be able to carry you through cash and GPP games this week. Especially the Giants. If you're not looking at Saquon Barkley this week, you're screwing up.
Yep. And I feel like this is the most top heavy, where I think there are 3 very clear top tier running backs and then a giant chasm between the rest. You got your top, obviously, Kamara, Saquon, as you brought up, and Zeke. I think Zeke is going to get a ridiculous amount of work and volume this week, as he does every week against Detroit. So I have quite a few lineups where I just spend on those top 3 running backs and then kind of mix and match value plays in to make it work. So it's a very interesting work. I feel like this is a heavy 50-50 week just because you're limited on those kind of top tier echelon guys, and then you just plug in some nice value plays. So let's just say hypothetically, Steve, can you go through each position for us real quick and just give us one cheap guy? These are our emergency value plays. So let's just say hypothetically you're driving and it's your son's, I don't know, friend's birthday party, and all of a sudden 5 minutes before kickoff, you figure out one of your players is out. Who is a cheap emergency value play for each position that we can plug in without a lot of research, and we know these guys are going to be playing?
So at quarterback, I like Eli. I mean, he's not super cheap, but I love the matchup. And, they got back on track a little bit last week. And if that offensive line can hold up against, a front on the New Orleans side that's not too strong, I think you can see a good game out of him.
Also, he's one touchdown pass away from Fran Tarkenton to be number 7 all-time list. It happened today.
Yeah, it should. I mean, I don't see why not with what they have there. So, but Ed, he's been playing rather well. He did get ejected last week, and he's not seeing any suspensions or anything like that. And I don't think that's going to impact his volume this week. And he's only 6,100. And given the matchup that he has, he's a guy that you could plug in, but that's only if you're playing Sunday, Monday. Obviously that's not a main slate scratch there. So going to wide receiver, I really like Christian Kirk and Kiki Cootie. Christian Kirk's 54, Cootie's at 4,500, and he's going to be that third wide receiver there. And there's obviously, we all know the Fuller to Hopkins situation there. So he's a guy that could kind of get lost. And if Deshaun Watson kind of gets his head on straight, he's somebody that can be valuable. And then Kirk, I really like him because it was very clear in the preseason that him and Rosen were on the same page, and Kirk's volume has increased from week to week. Rosen's under center this week. So at 5,400, you need an emergency play. I think that guy's going to be kind of sneaky this week regardless. And then at tight end, Red Ellison, Austin talked about him earlier in the week, with Evan Ingram out, and this is a connection here with Eli. Think about it. There's going to be the attention on OBJ. There's going to be the attention on Sterling Shepard. Obviously, everybody's going to have eyes on Saquon Barkley. So Red Ellison filling in there. He's a guy that could be a little bit sneaky as well.
Okay, I love it. And so just some options on a doomsday scenario. If you got to plug somebody in for super cheap, those are some options there. Now, before we wrap this up, guys, there's a couple things that I want to talk about before we jump off. One is Austin and Steve and myself, we are here for you guys. So if you have questions and you are in panic mode, reach out to us on Twitter. And we are there to help you out. I always try to answer the questions as much as I can. Sometimes you can only get to so many questions. And whenever you get about 60 questions right before kickoff, it's rough to get to everybody. But where can they reach you, Austin? What is your Twitter handle?
All right, my Twitter handle is AUSTN37. And my last closing thoughts for this week. Yeah, for Sunday, my crazy stack of the week, and there actually been some pretty crazy stacks that working. Dude, I'm leaning Arizona with Christian Kirk, not with Fitzgerald, but Christian Kirk, DJ, and Rosen.
Ooh, man, that's the thing. It was funny. This exact time last week, we made the joke about the Buffalo stack. Buffalo stack.
And it worked.
So we got paid. And again, back to our lineups, man. If you're playing with us, congratulations. You are making money. We hit on 7 out of 8 50-50 lineups last week. We are killing it over there, and our tournament plays haven't been bad. I won 4 separate qualifiers with the lineups that were submitted on there. So hopefully you're following there. And again, if you are, make sure you check back, because if players get announced out, we're updating that sheet. And so that is all available for you. It's very, very simple and very user-friendly. So head over to eatsleepfantasy.com. Now, Steve, where can they find you, and give us a thought or two to help us just feel better going into week 4?
So as always, at SPAC21, SPAC21, and just to touch on that crazy stack that Austin was just talking about, I like players in that game like David Johnson, like Christian Kirk, and even Russell Wilson. David Johnson, he's a guy that has struggled a little bit this year, has not seen a lot of touches. Implement Rosen in there. I think, well, I feel, and they should go down this road, but where the volume is going needs to change. The last time, and I put it out on Twitter, the last time David Johnson played the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle against a better defense, he had 3 touchdowns and 136 total yards that game. So watch that guy. Get him. If he breaks out, you're not going to get him at the price that he's at now. And then Russell Wilson, he is due. Doug Baldwin's back in the lineup. You know, they have somewhat of a run game with Chris Carson, and that defense is not that strong. So I think he's due, and he's reasonably cheap as well.
All right. And you can follow me at JL_Chapman, CHAPMAN. And what I want to leave you with is this, ladies and gentlemen: the plural of pelvis is pelvis or pelvises. That is the dictionary, whatever. So there we go. Thanks for listening to us, guys, and hit us up if you have any questions. Head over to Eat Sleep Fantasy. Peace.
Peace.
Later.